Welcome to the first lecture of this course. Today we're setting the stage to have our first mobile app. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Hussein Ghali. I studied engineering and currently work as a translator, and I'm also doing my PhD in computation linguistics. I love languages and games, and this is how I actually started getting into this, to develop a language learning game app, and I did it with this approach. So this course, I'm not assuming any programming background, although it would be helpful. And this course will also help you build mobile applications as well as web pages which can make for a website. And it goes into both directions of building games and building professional business applications. The approach is very simple. We make a web page using the three main ingredients: HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. And then this web page is converted using PhoneGap build into mobile apps. The first ingredient is HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. In one side, you see this code that's full of tags that the browser understands, and on the other side, this is what we see on the browser. This is how the browser converts this code into what we see and what we use for a web page. To make some analogy of it, let's say that HTML stands for House Items List. If we think of the web page as a house, then all of the items in it are described by HTML. For example, this house has doors and windows and tables and paintings, the same way that a web page has headings and paragraphs and images and forms and other things. The second ingredient is CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And going with our analogy, this is actually what gives the appearance to each of these items. You specify the colors or the sizes or the fonts of any of these. The third main ingredient, which is going to concentrate heavily upon in this course, is JavaScript. So this is just an example of a JavaScript code in a web page. And you find that actually what JavaScript does is to generate liveliness and interaction. Going with our house analogy, if you have a door in the house, it has a knob. If you turn the knob on, it needs to open. So this kind of interaction is what JavaScript does. If you don't have it, you turn the knob and nothing happens. So there are some preparations that we need to do so that we can start to build a web page using these three ingredients. The first and most important is to have a server. A server is necessary so that you can run the JavaScript code. There are three options for this. One of them is to have an online code editor like JSFiddle, CodePen, or JSBin. The second option is that if you have your own server or if you have a free server, then you can use FileZilla to upload and edit the code onto this server. The third option is to have a software to create a server on your computer. So for this we use XAMPP. The second main preparation that we need to have is to have a good text editor, because HTML, JavaScript, and CSS are all text files. So we need to use any of these or any text editor of your choice. Notepad++, Sublime Text, Bluefish, Brackets. I'll provide a list of the ones that I know in the resources. The third preparation is to have a good browser, which can either be Firefox or Chrome, but for the purposes of the illustration here, we'll be using Google Chrome throughout. Before we go, please go to build.phonegap.com to sign up for an account, because this is where you're going to upload your apps. So please take a moment to make sure everything is set up and then come back to the next. So let's get started with XAMPP. Let's go to Applications and we find where XAMPP is. And this should be also similar in Windows. And we open this manager and give the password of the computer. And then OK. and now it's opening. So we go to Manage Servers, and we start this Apache web server. Now it's starting, and it's running. So in order to manage the web content that this server displays, let's go to Open Application folder and find this directory that's called htdocs. This is the directory where you can have all the web pages and folders that can be displayed by this server. Let's create a new one and call it app. Okay, and using our text editor, we open a new page and type this into it: HTML tag, the opening tag and the closing tag, and say welcome to our first app, and then save it. We will need to make sure we're saving it in the right place, so we go to Applications and go to XAMPP and go to htdocs and to app, and we call it index.html. Save. Now you have created the page. So where can we find it? This is where we open it on Chrome, and the address would be localhost, and then the directory is called app. So we open it, and it's telling you welcome to your first app. So this is actually the web page that we've just created. Let's keep going. Let's add more to the web page that we've just created. Let's, for example, use this JavaScript example here, which when you click it, it displays the date. So let's use it. We just copy this code and use it in our page. So this is my first JavaScript, and when you click on it, it displays the date. Let's save it again, and let's go back to our app page, and when we refresh it, it's telling you this is my first JavaScript. So when you click it, it displays the date. That's fun. Let's now see how to convert it into an app. For this, we will need something called config.xml. This is a file that you need to put in the same directory so that PhoneGap will be able to compile this directory into a mobile application. So we go to this address, which I'll provide in the resources, and this is an example file that we can just use for our basic purposes here. Let's copy it and use it in our text editor and save it, and also at the same place that we used in the same app directory, and we call it config.xml and save it. Now we have, when we go to the directory, go to the application folder and go to htdocs and go to the app directory, you'll find that you have index.html and config.xml. Okay, so these two, let's make a compressed file, a zip file of them, and now it's called app.zip. Let's now go to build.phonegap.com and sign into the account that we just created using Adobe ID, password, And now here's where we can upload the zip file. We go to Applications, XAMPP, htdocs, and the zip file that we've just created. Open. And now it's ready to build. So let's build it. You'll find that there is an error for iOS because it does not accept something without a signing key. So let's configure a signing key. Here, in the Edit Account, Signing Keys, iOS, add a key. Let's call it test dev. And it will need two files, P12 file for the certificate, and I will be showing in detail how to do it in a supplementary video. So we go to desktop, certificates, this is the P12 file that we're using, and the provisioning profile which says which mobile devices can use this application. So we use this one, and then we submit key. The key is locked, so let's unlock it. Give it the password and submit. Now let's go back to the apps. We'll find that we have the Android app compiled and the Windows Phone also compiled. So let's try again with the iOS with the newly created key. And now it's done. App to your device. There are two ways of doing this. One way is to use this QR code where you can just scan it and the app will be downloaded automatically. The other option is to go to Settings and make sure that you allow public sharing, and for this you will have this link that would give you the different app versions for different platforms. But for now we'll just use the QR code. So let's go to the QR code reader. And now it's telling me to install it. So let's install it. And it's just done. So let's go to the apps and we'll find it. It's actually down there, PhoneGap example. Let's open it. And it's showing me the exact same thing that we had in our web page, My First JavaScript. Let's click on it and it displays the time and date. Display it again, refresh it. Congratulations!